The topic for today is on geometry congruent figures. Congruent figure. Two objects are congruent, so we will use this notation to mean that they are congruent, right? So the wavy line on top and the equal sign. Two figures are congruent if they have the same size and shape. Two figures are congruent if and only if their vertices can be matched up so that the corresponding parts, angles, and size of the figure are congruent. When writing which figures are congruent, be sure to write the vertices in the same order. It's important that they are in the same order. So we're comparing angle to angles and side to sides. Right, so here we have triangle ABC and triangle RST. So we're comparing A to R and B to S and C to T. So it's important that you follow the order that is written. So here we're saying that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle RST. Right, so note the order here. So here we can draw our triangle. So then if we say that angle A is congruent to angle R, so that they should have the same marking, and angle B is congruent to angle S. So this is angle B and angle S. And angle C is congruent to angle T. Right, so in geometry, when they have the same marking, we say that they are congruent. So now we need to compare the size. Right, so then we can say that segment AB is congruent to segment RS, and segment BC is congruent to segment ST, and segment CA is congruent to segment TS. Okay, so we're comparing this side to this side, so since they're congruent, so they have the same marking, right? And we're comparing BC to ST, so they have the same marking, and CA to TR, so they have the same marking, right? Okay, and here is another figure. It happens to be a trapezoid or a quadrilateral. See that quadrilateral ABC is compared to quadrilateral JKL and M. Right. So the order is written is important. So we're comparing A to J and comparing B to K and C to L and D to M. Right, so here we're saying that quadrilateral ABC is congruent to quadrilateral JKM. So we're going to draw our quadrilateral. So since A is compared to J, so we know that A is congruent to J, and B is congruent to K, and C is congruent to L, and D is congruent to M. Right? And also the side that segment AB is congruent to JK, BC is congruent to KL, and CD is congruent to LM, and DA is congruent to MJ. Right? So we can say that angle A is congruent to angle J, and angle B is congruent to angle K, and angle C is congruent to angle L, and angle D is congruent to angle M. So then they need to be in that order. And segment AB is congruent to segment JK, and segment BC is congruent to segment KL, and CD is congruent to LM, and segment DA is congruent to segment MJ. Okay, so the order that appear here and here are important. Okay, so you see that sometimes you have to change the position of the figure to match up vertically. Practice spinning or sliding the figure mentally. Spinning, in other words, spinning is that we have to do a mental rotation of the figure. Right, so here is an example. Right, so we have this figure and this figure, so then that means that we need to rotate this to this side, right, to match up. And then for this one, we can rotate this over or do a reflection. Right? See that two triangles are congruent. So we're using these notation if and only if their vertices can be matched up so that the corresponding parts, angles, and size of the triangles are congruent. So then that means that we need to rotate this triangle to match up that, so then we can have this. Alright, so then this becomes our D, E, and F. So we're comparing A to D, and B to E, and C to F. Okay, so here is our triangle. So two triangles are congruent if and only if the vertices can be matched up so that the corresponding parts, angles, and size of the triangles are congruent. So we see that angle A is congruent to angle D. So they set the same marking, and angle B is congruent to angle E, and angle C is congruent to angle F. So we're done with all three angles, and then now we have to compare the size. Right, so we said that segment AB is congruent to DE, and BC is congruent to EF, and CA is congruent to FD. Okay, and also when you write your congruent, make sure that all of these match up. Right? Okay, now the next part is called CPCTC. When the definition of congruent triangle are used in a proof, use the wording corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, or you can short up to CPCTC. Right, so the same thing when you're texting and you don't write the whole phrase, you can say corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, CPCTC. Right, our next example said name three pairs of corresponding sides. So here we're looking at our drawing, so we're looking for the same marking. Right, so we say that segment MA is congruent to segment YQ, and then we can say that segment MN is congruent to segment YB, and then another segment. Let me find room for it. So we can say segment NA is congruent to segment B, not Q. So I'm going to change this to an O. Right? And then for the second, name three pair of corresponding angles. So we say that angle M is congruent to angle Y, and angle N is congruent to angle B, and angle A is congruent to angle O. Right? So is it correct to say that triangle MAN is congruent to angle BOY? Right? Okay. Well, we're saying that M is to Y, but here we say that M is to B. So then the answer is no. Right? So we should have said that angle M and A is congruent to triangle YBO. Okay? Right, consider complete these statements. So here we're given that triangle AOB is congruent to triangle COD. So before we do anything, we want to mark up our diagram first. We say that A is congruent to C, so then we mark A and C, and B and D, so then this is B and, oops, my mistake. This is B and D. And O is to O, so then these two are congruent, right? So we see that DOC is congruent, so then we see that D is congruent to B, so we start with B to D, and O is to O, and C is to A, right? And another one is BAO. So, well, we see that B is corresponding to D, so we're going to start this with D. A is to C, and O is to O. Okay, so we see that the order is important, right? So we see that the statement AB is to CD, so then this is CD, and CO, so we're comparing CO to AO, right? Okay, and you see that AOB, so if we look at our drawings, let me change that to red. So we see that the angle AOB, so we see that C is going to, so that we get a COD, right? So this is angle COD is congruent. Well, we have learned from our previous example that these two triangles are called vertical angles, and vertical angles are always equal, right? And then here another example, we see that segment AB. So let me look at our diagram. So segment AB and segment CD, are they parallel? And the answer is yes. And they're parallel because of the theorem called the alternate interior angles. Right? And so now we need to make a drawing to match our figures. Say that name the coordinate B, I, and G. So let's say, for example, we start at the coordinate as 0, 0. Right? Okay, so then I would be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I is 1, 4. And for B, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So then it's 4, 8. And G would be 5, 5, 4. Okay, and name the coordinate of a point D says that the triangle BIG is congruent to DIG. Well, since we're using the same I and G, so then to get the D, we can, well, to go from G to B, we go left 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we can do D, we go left 1 and down 1, 2, 3, 4. So this could be our point D. So then we can have this triangle here. So then the coordinates for D would be 4, 0. Right? And here we see that name the coordinate for point O says that BIG is same as TOP. Okay, so IG and OP are congruent, right? Okay, I think there seems to be a typo here, so let me fix this. Say to get from G to B, we go left 1 up 4, so we can do the same thing. Start from P, we go left 1 up 1, 2, 3, 4, so we would have that. Okay, so then instead of T here, we can have this is our O and that's our T. Right, so then we say triangle B, I, G is congruent to triangle TOP. Okay, so then our coordinate for O would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. So then O would be 7, 2. And then for T would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would be 10, 6. And for P would be 11, 2. Okay, so the T should not be on B there. Right? Okay, so that's the end of our note. So your assignment will be on worksheet 2C and 2D.